What's up guys, we're back with another video of British Guy Reacts. Today we're looking at the craziest season of college football of all time. I'm not sure what season it's from. I thought this is just a bit of a change. It's still a sports video, but more of like an informative one. So let's get straight into the video, and if you do like the video, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like down below. Okay, let's get straight into it. Oh, 2007. There you go, straight away. It's a longer video, so settle in.
Simply the greatest college football season ever played.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
With so many twists and turns throughout the season, the best way to be able to tell this story will be through the weekly chronological timeline from the perspective of the polls. Because what ended up happening in 2007 has so much historical significance in relation to the polls, things that had never happened in the 71-year history of the AP poll were happening on a constant basis throughout 2007.
I think in a year we've had so many upsets in college football, how fitting to have Kansas and Missouri controlling their own destiny, not only for a conference title, but to get to the national title. It's an amazing year.
Week 1.
Welcome to the season kickoff of the Big Ten Network. You look at the Michigan Wolverines are ranked in the top 5, and Charles, when you look at them, especially on offense, there are lots of reasons why.
Everyone remembers this game. Michigan losing at home to
course,
lower
everyone
division
remembers
opponent
this.
Appalachian State.
Snaps good, the whole kick! Oh! The kick is good! The Mountaineers have just beat the Michigan Wolverines!
It's the most famous college football upset of all time, and Michigan suffered major fallout after this game. Let's focus on the short-term effect. They went from a top 5 team and a national title contender to falling completely out of the rankings. In the 71 years the AP poll had been published, this was the largest drop in the rankings ever. Michigan's loss was so embarrassing, it caused ESPN's analyst Lou Holtz to get upset enough that he cursed on live TV.
It still blows my mind that they have like college football on SportsCenter, ESPN. It's so different to the way our university college sports is viewed here. I know the reasons why now from previous videos, but it's still crazy to me.
The locker room's completely
These are
different.
kids
Everybody
that are playing.
pointing
Just
fingers,
kids.
complaining about this. Second stringer saying I should play, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea how many problems happen in the locker room when you lose.
Well, he wasn't wrong. Michigan would get smoked the following week by Oregon, with the most memorable moments being that Statue of Liberty play, followed by the
was cold.
Statue of Liberty.
Oh, I got him twice. No.
This is a huge win for South Carolina.
It would be a defining win during the short tenure from Steve Spurrier. This one up for grabs, jump ball, and knocked away and picked off by Brinkley.
Woodson from the gun, play fake, step it up. He's throwing deep down the near sideline. He's got Johnson. 20, 2, 1, touchdown, Kentucky!
Has time, going deep, got a man, and it's broken. Morgan Trent and Jamar Adams just saved the day.
Over the course of weeks 2, 3, and 4, there were a total of 9 upsets. In the grand scheme of college football, this is a pretty normal amount. Things take off.
I was going to say, like, college football, surely you get a lot of upsets because the teams must change quite frequently, right? Because people graduate or go to the NFL. I'm guessing there's some colleges that just spend way more money on the program, so they get the better players, they have better reputations, but surely it shouldn't be that surprising to get upsets. It's not like you can have an established team for 5, 6, 7, 8 years because you've constantly got players moving on.
However, in week 5,
Maybe I'm wrong.
when there
I
were
don't-
8 top 25 teams who lost, half of them were in the top 10, 3 of which were in the top 5, things were starting to get weird. This takes us to our first Cinderella story of the video.
West Virginia losing.
This is one
Saw them in the greatest
This is
crowd
unbelievable,
reactions.
Al. We're about to witness the birth of a college football program behind us.
Back in 1997, the University of South Florida had begun their first season of NCAA football. Their first team meeting was held under a tree, and they had no real football facilities. Starting off as a Division I AA school, the team quickly grew, and by 2000, the NCAA felt they were ready to make the move up to Division 1A. Over the course of the next 7 years, they did decent, especially for being recently formed, but not in the grand scheme of major college football. They had never been ranked. That was until week 4 of the 2007 season, where USF entered the polls for the first time. After another win, they moved up 5 spots to number 18. Suddenly, week 5's matchup against number 5 West Virginia had become the biggest game in
Take
program
me
history up to that point.
home, country road.
To snap it. Wilkie takes a knee. The biggest game in South Florida history ends with the biggest win in the history of this 11-year-old Bulls football program.
The biggest crowd in FAU history today, most of them wearing green and gold.
Does the college season run alongside the NFL, or is it at different times? It makes sense to be different times, right? So you got more football throughout the year.
For the South Florida Bulls.
Just imagine the hype train that the South Florida students were riding. Although this game would be close, USF would win that game, keeping the undefeated season alive. Now, before we continue, I'd like to thank Honey for sponsoring this video. First, what is Honey? Honey is a free browser. In the 1,000 more they could look for free takes. 2 in the. Let's go back to week 6 in 2007. USC had just been demoted to number 2 in the AP poll.
It's not good enough, USC.
At this point, it was a coin flip between who was the number 1 team in the country. Coming up though, LSU had to face a tough Florida team.
How did they get relegated if they've played 4-1-4? Doesn't seem fair. I guess the other teams have played 5-1-5. How is someone who's only won 4 games above somebody who's won 5 games? Are these college rankings done like subjectively rather than objectively? Does it not go off stats? Is it more just people deciding how good you are? Because this list doesn't make sense.
Team led by Tim Tebow, while USC had a walk in the park. They played the below average Stanford, who had gone 1-11 the year before and was 1-3 up to this point. USC was favored by nearly 6 touchdowns going in.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen. 4th down and 20. Pritchard steps up, throws over the middle.
Oh.
Pass is caught right at the first down line. Sherman on the reception, and one official has it inside the 10, and that will be a first down. Yes.
You know who that is, right? That's the Richard Sherman. He eventually moved to the defensive side of the ball, but before 2009, he was a receiver. And on 4th and 20 in the biggest game of his life up to that point, he had miraculously kept his team alive.
To the near side.
He's the middle receiver in the trips down to the bottom.
So the down 6 here, you can get 7 points, can't you? You get 5 for the touchdown and 2 for the field goal. Is that right?
4th and goal from the 10. Pritchard, straight drop, goes to the fade to the other side. Bradford, touchdown USC! Stanford, touchdown Stanford, my
I know you just get 7 for the touchdown.
Just for context of how shocking this was, the year before when these two played, USC blew out Stanford 42-0. Then, a week before this game, Stanford's starting quarterback had suffered a seizure, so the backup, who had only thrown 3 collegiate passes, was to make the start. Remember that other huge upset earlier in the season? Michigan was favored by 34 points versus Appalachian State. USC was favored by 41 over Stanford. Crazy. While that happened,
So there's some real powerhouses
Florida
in
and
college
LSU
football.
played in one of the best games all year. This game was the definition of smash mouth football that, for a while, favored Tim Tebow in Florida. But with a couple tricks up the sleeve of Les Miles,
Just a fake and Flynn picks it up. How about that?
some big time turnovers,
Here's Moore again. He fumbled it.
and grinded out football, LSU completed the 4th quarter comeback to truly solidify them as the number 1 team in the country. What's incredible was going into week 7, USC was
It's like this. So USC now are ranked 10th, but they've played 4, lost 1. But Missouri have played 5-1-5, but are below them. How is that fair?
still in the top 10 somehow.
Something
But
dodgy going
there
on
was a
there.
new front runner in the Pac-10. Cal was ranked number 2, and it's all because 2 weeks prior, they beat Oregon on this play.
With 22 seconds to go, Stewart in the backfield. Dixon, Colvin. No signal. Colvin. The officials have yet to make a call. It's got to be something.
Rolling on the field is touchback. Ball is fumbled into and out of bounds in the end zone.
That play was absolutely heartbreaking, but it helped catapult the Golden Bears to their highest ranking since 1951. That was when football looked like this. Here's what's also crazy. LSU, who had that close game versus Florida the week before, would play Kentucky in Week 7 earlier than when Cal played. After a triple overtime thriller, Kentucky beat LSU in dramatic fashion, which opened the door for Cal to be the #1 team in the entire nation. Only one problem. Cal's starting quarterback Nate Longshore had been ruled out of the upcoming game just 10 minutes before kickoff. He had been dealing with a nagging ankle injury from the previous week. Still, with guys like Justin Forsett and Deshaun Jackson, Cal was still favored to win. Flash to the third quarter. Cal's losing, but it's 2nd and goal on Oregon State's 1-yard line. They would be stopped not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Forsett, no! Oregon State with an incredible stop!
This seemed to be the game's defining moment. Cal didn't give up though. Down by 10 in the 4th quarter, they would score, stop Oregon State, and give themselves another chance to either win or at least go into overtime with the momentum. This is how it all went down.
Now Cal has a shot to go for the win here. Riley gonna run it. That's not a good play. Will they have enough time?
What?
California may not get it off. Riley made a huge mistake, and the game is over.
That last play was a nightmare. It was 1st and 10. All he had to do was throw the ball out of bounds. Instead of throwing the ball away, he actually threw the game away. And Cal would completely fall apart after that game. After starting 5-0 and having a legitimate shot to be #1, they finished the season 6-6.
So we should have just threw the ball away as soon as that happened.
Week 8. This is where the college football rankings had been officially flipped upside down. Let's just take a look at some of these teams near the top. Hawaii. This was the highest that they had been ranked in the history of their program. Kansas had seemingly come out of nowhere. They were historically terrible at football. Now, they were sitting at 6.
I must be stupid, but these rankings make no sense. Florida played 4, lost 1-4, lost 2, 15th. Hawaii 1-7, not lost a game. I guess Hawaii are playing easier teams or something, but who decides that? Is that up to Hawaii? Because to me, you've given Hawaii 7 games and they've won 7 games. They should be higher. They've done everything they can. What else can they do?
6-0. Arizona State was off to their best start in a decade. Kentucky hadn't even been ranked since 1984, just over 20 years.
It must be who you
After
play
2
against, right?
big-time upsets, they made an appearance in the top 10. Where did Boston College come from? They were led by Matt Ryan, and this was the highest that they had been ranked since before World War II. And
Jesus.
now, to top them all, South Florida, who had never been ranked in the history of their program until this year, sat at #2 in the rankings. Looking at their upcoming schedule, compared to some of the games they already played, the chances of reaching the national championship game were real. People felt that their upcoming game.
So I guess this is what it is, because these play a lot of unranked teams, right? They've only played Auburn, is that right? 17th rank, and West Virginia 5th rank. I guess that's what it is then.
Versus Rutgers was probably their toughest one left. They make it through this game. It was
Who
most
decides
likely
those fixtures?
smooth sailing on their way to becoming the most shocking team to make the national title in recent memory.
BCS #2, out of timeouts, down 3. Perfect season, #2 BCS ranking comes down to this play. Brophy fires over the sidelines, a flag down, it's caught. Caught by Amari Jackson. Now we'll check the flag. He comes back.
Pass interference. Number 18 offense. Pushing off the defender.
Very subtle push, almost not necessary, because Jackson had his
Seems a soft foul.
in a decent position to go get it where everyone can converge on it.
6 men standing 30 yards from line of scrimmage for Rutgers, and Grothe heaves it.
Oh, he's gone deep.
Picked off.
This Cinderella story got ugly, real ugly.
On the line on this play. Grothe. End zone. Incomplete. UConn takes over.
They disappeared pretty quickly. But to go back to that Week 8 loss against Rutgers, people started to notice a particular trend. This had marked 3 weeks in a row that the number 2 team in the nation had lost. So the burning question that swept the nation,
don't want to be number
will
2.
it continue? Well, in Week 9, it sure looked like it. After going scoreless the entire game, they would score a touchdown, win for an onside kick, got it, then drove down the field to set up this.
He broke the curse.
It's here to force overtime.
10 to 12 yards is what you're looking for right now if you're Matt Ryan.
Plenty of time. Cannot take a sack here. Ryan will fire.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that was nice.
Touchdown is Callender. And Lane Stadium goes silent.
That pass by Matt Ryan was unbelievable. Boston College had broken the trend.
I forgot what week we're on now. Week 10 or something?
On this 2nd down and 7. Intercepted. That could do it. And that will spell doom probably for another number 2 team. What is it about number 2 this year?
Oregon.
Let's bring pressure off the edge. Dixon will just fall down now. Wanted to try a shovel pass. There was traffic and perhaps a miscommunication, and now Dixon holding his knee. There was no contact. He just crumpled on the ground.
If Dixon doesn't get hurt, Oregon probably wins out, and there's a good chance that he may have won the Heisman Trophy, and the Ducks most likely would have been playing in the national championship. Instead, they become the 5th number 2 team in 7 weeks to lose. No one knows what's going on at this point. Anyone who gets to the top immediately goes down. The week before Oregon lost, number 1 Ohio State would lose at...
It's probably because they're on SportsCenter and ESPN and God knows what else, saying, oh, the number 2 they're going to lose. Probably gets in these kids' heads, man. Because how old are they? What's like the maximum age you can be in these teams? Like 21 or something? You go to college when you're 18. 21, 22.
At home to unranked Illinois. I just remember watching their quarterback, Juice Williams, tear up the Buckeyes defense. This seemingly ended Ohio State's hopes and dreams of returning to the national title. This loss should have been more shocking, but this is the 2007 college football season we're talking about. Nothing was going to shock us at this point.
We welcome you to what certainly could be the game of the year. With Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Brent Musburger. Folks, let this sink in. If either Kansas or Missouri wins their next 2 games, they will play for the national championship.
To anyone who had been watching college football for a while, this just felt bizarre. Let me try to explain how weird this is. These two were rivals, which had been going on since 1891. Keep in mind, this goes back to before cars were invented. Since these two started playing football, this was the highest Missouri had been ranked since 1960. And this was the highest that Kansas had ever been ranked. So this had easily become the best matchup in nearly 120 years. Before the season, some thought that Missouri may be decent. I mean, no one expected them to be near the top 5, so that was a pretty big surprise. But Kansas? Are you kidding me? Just look at that stat. That is one of the most ridiculous stats that you'll ever see. Oh yeah, number 1 LSU lost again in triple overtime. How many times is that gonna happen? So now, the winner of this Kansas-Missouri game would be the number 1 team in the nation, and would end up playing the following week in the Big 12 Championship.
Is there a limit to overtimes, or does it just literally keep going until somebody wins? You guys really hate ties, don't you?
They
No
win
ties
that
allowed.
game, they play in the national title.
Daniels still looking for somebody open. Retreats on the move, complete. Alexander scores. Straight back. Throws middle. Intercepted on the deflection. There's Bridges.
It's pretty amazing fourth quarter for the Jayhawks.
In trouble. There's a safety. 36-28.
I don't know how I didn't see this coming. Kansas was number 2. You can't win in 2007 if you're number 2.
West Virginia sideline, guys, it's quiet. There are very few people up doing a rah-rah. Owen Schmidt just tried to yell at the guys in the huddle, but it's flat. Not much sense of urgency right now for West Virginia.
For the first down. Brown, fumble, that's a loss the ball. Pitt has it. Over. The Pitt Panthers.
It's West Virginia number 2 there.
Stunning upset.
Man, this one was rough. West Virginia was favored by 28.5 points. Missouri would also end up losing. In fact, they got crushed by Oklahoma. Listen to this stat. The number 1 and number 2 team had only lost in the same weekend 4 total times in the previous 10 years. In 2007 alone, it had happened 3 times in the last 8 weeks. I guess no one was more pleased with all these upsets than LSU and Ohio State. Sure, Ohio State got burned by Illinois a few weeks prior, but because of so many improbable upsets, they were back to number 1. And now LSU. Talk about one of the most wild rides ever.
35. Matt Flynn will hold. And it's a fake. They give it to David and he heads for the corner. Touchdown, LSU!
Trying to stop the clock for his own offense. 3rd and 7. And Flynn is back to throw for the end zone. Oh! Touchdown! Whoa! What a call! That is the call of the year.
LSU's season was magical. Besides all the crazy plays, they lost in triple overtime, twice. The second loss seemed to be the nail in the coffin. No team in the BCS era had made it to the championship with 2 losses, let alone losing just a week before conference championship weekend. But 2007 has proven to be a first for everything. Although it seemed like luck had gotten LSU to this point, in the actual national title game, it was anything but.
Play fake one way, Flynn rolls, dumps it off to early Doucette, and he's still on his feet and dances into the end zone. Well, congratulations to the LSU Tigers, the 2008 All-State BCS National Champions.
And there you have it. In the most unpredictable season of all time, you have your first 2-loss national champion since 1960.
Football for LSU. I'm preparing for Arkansas. I'm preparing for the next game and the next game after that.
Please ask me after. I'm busy. Thank you.
So I know the players don't get paid, right? I'm guessing the coaches do. Because it seems like this is like the next highest level after NFL. I guess they must get paid. Surely they're not just teachers at the college, right?
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Other notable moments included Tim Tebow winning the Heisman, Hawaii and Illinois making it to BCS Bowls, and both getting crushed. Kansas finishing 12-1, and just for context, by 2009 they were back to their losing ways. And lastly, West Virginia stomped Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. Man, it really was West Virginia's year. Of all the upsets that happened in 2007, their loss versus Pitt may have stung the most. On Pitt's bus after the game, their quarterback apparently started singing the famous song by John Denver.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
So West Virginia have never played in the national championship. You know what? When I watched the college crowds, that was my favourite one, the West Virginia one. You've never made it to a national championship. I need to find an NFL team first, but I might make West Virginia my my college football team, because we sing Manchester United also use this song at the start of every game we play. We just changed the words a bit. Could be a good shout, West Virginia.
We will see one of those X factors in this football game right now. Britton Colquitt, one of the finest punters in the country, up against the #1 return man, Deshaun Jackson.
And does he punt to him? I think he has the confidence to say, I'm going to punt right to him.
You'll never see a Colquitt back away. Here comes Deshaun, shake and bake. Can he beat the
Shake and
second?
bake. Oh.
Dancing off to the right. Look at this guy, the wizard of returns, Deshaun Jackson. He's going to the end zone.
Well done, lad. Okay guys, that is the end of the video. Go and check out KTO, because that was a fantastic video and it would have took them a long time to put something like that together. If you did enjoy my reaction, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. That was good, yeah. It was a crazy season. I mean, I'm not too familiar with much college football, but from the rankings and stuff, it did seem crazy. I'm quite intrigued by college football, a bit more so than I am NFL right now. So it's going to be something I watch more videos on. And yeah, I just wish English sports took on this kind of route where the college sports so big. It'd be so good, so good. But anyway, that's it for now. Like I said, if you enjoy the video, come back, check out some more reactions. But for now, take it easy. Peace.